So, Samurai Cop 2 Deadly Vengeance. They thought he was dead, he was just cooling off. I'd just finished watching this film and wow, what a crazy, mad, energetic, at times hilarious, campy, fun-filled action sleaze fest. The sequel to the original Samurai Cop, which was released in 1991, although the original never actually had a theatrical release, has become something of a cult classic over the years, especially actually in recent years. There's been a new surge in its love and its cult following, especially amongst martial arts fans, B-movie, exploitation fans, and fans of trashy action movies from the 80s especially. It was directed by the late Iranian filmmaker Amir Shervan, and it's one of those films, you know, what would you say, it's so bad it's good, if you know what I mean. And Samurai Cop, the original, definitely falls under this bracket. Many people say it's so bad it's good, but that's a good thing. After they'd finished shooting, or supposedly they thought they had finished shooting Samurai Cop, the film star Matt Hannon, also known as Matthew Carides as he's known today, but when filming Samurai Cop, upon its release, he was known as Matt Hannon. He had really long, dark locks of hair, and he believed he had finished shooting, and he actually went and got his hair cut really short. And then the director got back in touch with him, and he's like, "No, we've still got scenes to shoot." And they ended up having to get a wig for him, and then they shot for another 4 weeks or something. And if you look really closely, well, sometimes you don't need to look close. In a lot of shots in the movie, you can clearly see that he is wearing a wig, and you just tell the difference from some earlier scenes. And there's one fight scene in particular where you actually see it come off. It wasn't sort of edited. You actually see it come off, which is hilarious. And you know what? Things like this, things like the wig and the film's dodgy editing, the hilarious dialogue and questionable acting, it just adds to the brilliance of this. You know, the off the charts sound. It just adds to the brilliance of this cult classic, and it certainly makes me smile and laugh, to be honest. I'll always love these types of films. You see, if you get entertained by a film that makes you laugh or smile, or you enjoy it so much, is it really a bad film? Sure, it's not going to win much Oscars at the awards ceremony, but I doubt that's what the filmmakers had in mind when they were actually making the film either. So out of the limelight had Matt Hannon, we'll call him Matthew Carides. So out of the limelight had he been that many actually believed he was dead. Fans and people around the world and in the industry actually believed he was dead. They hadn't heard of him. But after seeing many comments on internet sites such as Internet Movie Database, IMDb, with people chatting about the film and about his whereabouts, his daughter Courtney, she's a budding filmmaker who was also brought on board in the sequel as a executive producer. She actually encouraged her father to make a video to just tell everyone, "No, I'm not dead, I'm alive and well." So he ended up making a video, and then he showed Courtney, "Is this the type of thing you were after?" And she took it, and then she ended up uploading it to YouTube, and then it went a little bit viral, and the YouTube account got a bit busy for a while with comments, messages everywhere. And initially Carides had went a bit apeshit at his daughter and wasn't happy because he felt like he looked like a bit of a douchebag with his top off and everything when he was just testing it out, but he was just worried about how he looked. But it ended up being a blessing in disguise because there was comments and fans from all over, as I said, and within hours the director of the sequel, Gregory Hatanaka, he was in touch with Carides about talking about a sequel because they'd actually been working on a script for nearly a year after Hatanaka came across the old 35mm print of the original film, which he decided to restore and put out to theatres, and then they realised that they still had a bit of a following, especially a cult following, and there was a bit of demand for this movie, so that's when they decided to talk about doing a sequel. But at this time, they had no idea where Matthew Caridis was, so they actually started working on a script with Mark Fraser, who played Joe Marshall's partner, cop buddy partner in the original film, Frank Washington. They started working on a script with him, just him in it initially, but then once this YouTube revelation came about with the video, and there's no way that the original Mr. Samurai Cop wasn't going to be in this sequel. So now that Matthew Caridis was on board, things were starting to get moving in terms of the production of the film. They had successful funding campaigns online, including with Indiegogo and a Kickstarter campaign, which helped raise well over $60,000, with near 900 people getting involved. So that really helped a lot. In this sequel, I really liked a lot of the music featured in the film, though I did feel that some of it was rather misplaced at times, and some of the action sequences' tension was taken away by the said misplaced music. But that's just my opinion, though I do believe some of it may have been deliberate, as if to nod to some of the trashy action movies of the 1980s. Let's go get us some katana. There was lots of flashback scenes in the movie. Sometimes I wasn't too sure what was a flashback at times and what wasn't, and what was really going on. That was a little bit confusing, and there was a lot of playing around with some of the tones and the style, which was sometimes off-putting. In an action film, sometimes you just want to enjoy just that, the action, without too much messing around, if you know what I mean. Again, I believe that was a little nod and snigger almost to the original film. You have to watch the original Samurai Cop, to be honest, before you watch this if you get the chance, just to get a lot of the little jokes and references, to be honest. There was a lot of hallucination sort of scenes, dreamlike sequences by the tortured samurai cop, Joe Marshall, who's struggling to come to terms with the murder of the love of his life, and he's seeking to take deadly vengeance alongside his partner, Frank Washington, played by Mark Fraser, as I said. I think both Mark Fraser and Matt Caridis had great chemistry as a cop buddy duo. I think they're great together, and they're funny, and they've both got a great look and presence about them. Caridis, largely frustrated with his lack of acting opportunities in the industry over the years, he even admits himself how terrible the original film was and his dodgy acting skills, but from himself and others, but he's actually largely impressive in this film, and he's clearly having a great time with it. As he says, I just showed up and tried not to look as ridiculous as I did in the first movie. Which, to be fair, he doesn't look as ridiculous. Do me a favour, don't keep it warm. But overall, it was real fun. There was lots of colourful as well as annoying characters in there. It was a pretty large ensemble piece with quite a few familiar faces from both the original film as well as a lot of independent martial arts B-movies seen in Hollywood also. There's quite a lot of naked ass on screen and breasts on show, if that's your thing, which is a bit of a throwback again to the sleazy 80s action exploitation pics from the 80s, which I always enjoyed and entertained me as a kid and now as well. There are lots of sexy dressed women with big guns and big breasts that will please some, and they can also kick some ass, as seen in the film's many exciting and entertainment fight sequences. Chinese-American actress Bai Ling, She stands out as one of the main villains in a real sexy, fun role. Ling has actually previously starred in films such as The Crow with Brandon Lee, Red Corner with Richard Gere, and she had a role in Star Wars Revenge of the Sith also. Apparently she's had a number of personal problems in recent years, but there's no doubt in her talent as a character actor here, and I would imagine a number of people would be really impressed seeing her in this role. Pretty sexy and bad. If only you knew the pleasure of being inside of me. That wasn't very good, but that's a line. Shane Ryan, who's a cult filmmaker based in California, he does a turn as one of the crazy henchmen in the movie and speaks in a highly charged and excitable Japanese language. And as a huge fan of Jean-Claude Van Damme and martial arts 80s films in general, I'm sure that he had lots of fun being in part of this one as well. Ryan was also a co-producer of the film, I believe. Joe Estevez, he's in the movie. He is actually the brother of Martin Sheen and the uncle of both Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen. He does a fun turn as the cop's captain in this film. Another popular cult filmmaker, Tommy Wiseau, he stars as Linton Kitano. Seriously, I just wanted Samurai Cop to nail his ass already and shut him up. Perhaps even sever his head off with his trusty sword. Man, he was rather annoying, but perhaps that was the point. There are also small roles for classic American character actor Mel Novak. You may have seen him in films with the likes of Bruce Lee and Chuck Norris down the years, as well as martial arts master Gerard Okamura, who he starred in the original film and was actually the fight choreographer in that. Okamura is known for, you may have seen him in films such as Ninja Busters and Big Trouble in Little China, among others. Well, the original film was more in the 80s action comedy cop buddy style, kind of like Lethal Weapon, but not as good. They really went off the charts with this one, which was produced in more of a campy comic book style. Actually, I think these films would be great as graphic novels, to be honest. I think they would be amazing. Martial arts, action, fantasy, and throughout the film there's lots of throwbacks, winks and nudges to the original as well, basically laughing at and with the film as well. It's not a film to take too seriously. It's not a film to take too seriously at all, and to be honest, the filmmakers and the actors are not taking it seriously either. They'll agree very much that they were pretty much in on the joke, so to speak, but they looked like they were having an amazing, crazy fun time with it. The film was dedicated at the end to legendary B-movie star Robert Z'Dar. He was brilliant as one of the villains in the original film. Really good. He died in March of this year, 2015. He was probably most famous for playing Matt Cordell in the Maniac cop films. I loved those films as well, and I noticed there was a wee wink to Maniac Cop in the film where they actually mentioned the term Maniac Cop in one of the lines, which was obviously a wee tribute. Samurai Cop 2 had its sold-out worldwide premiere in Los Angeles on Friday the 9th of October 2015, and it's been getting lots of positive feedback and reviews from film critics within the media and the community. It's definitely pleasing the fans of the original, because that's what they've done. They've asked the fans what they want, and they've given it big time and more. So, who would like this film? First of all, I'd say please check out the first one. If you're interested in checking this out, please check out the first one and see if this kind of film is your cup of tea. Because you might not get it. You might not get it at all, and it might be too much for you. But please, just try it out. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but it's worth checking out first. I'd say fans of 80s sleaze action, trashy action movies, B-movie exploitation, grindhouse, martial arts, action fantasy films, that type of thing, as well as thinking of films with similar elements like Big Trouble in Little China or Showdown in Little Tokyo or The Punisher. Think of those films and thinking of this. So they're different. This is a different film, but think of those, as well as more perhaps people can relate to more comic book Quentin Tarantino stuff like Kill Bill or the Grindhouse collaboration he did with Robert Rodriguez, Planet Terror and Death Proof. And the Samurai Cop team is actually coming to Europe also. I do believe that the film is getting screened at some film festival in Madrid on the 28th of January, which will be its European premiere, and they're also getting to the Czech Republic and Slovakia, and they are hoping to get to London as well. In my opinion, it's a modern cult classic in the making, I'd say. I hope I can help convince some local art house cinemas around Scotland, to be honest, to maybe screen it, because it hasn't got a screening in Scotland, and I would love to see it on the big screen, to be honest. Here in Dundee we have a great art house cinema, the DCA, Dundee Contemporary Arts, and I would love to get the chance to screen it here. We'll try and do some asking around, see what we can do. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and go check it out if you can at a cinema or theatre. If not, at least you rent it online from the likes of Vimeo. It's on Vimeo. The link's in my description there. Rent it on Vimeo and check it out. And I believe you can also check out the original on that as well. So try and find that. And I believe it's going to be released on Blu-ray, DVD later in 2016. So go and rent it out, get a few friends round, some drinks and food, and just have a damn good time with it. You know what, I think I'm going to go and check it out again now, and perhaps the original once more. Thanks for watching. Bingo.